Today we're going to be talking about how not to blow the engine up on your smaller motorcycle or bigger bike, but mostly small bikes. And also, if you're new here, my name is Michael. I strive to make educational, informative, and entertaining content here on YouTube. So, you have a small bike. Firstly, this video is nothing to do with bashing small bikes. I really do like small machines. I rode around quite frequently on a 250L. In fact, I rode a 250L for about 45,000 miles before I sold it. I do have bigger bikes now, including a CBR 1100 and RC51, but I really do like the small bikes. You can have a lot of fun on them. I had a ton of fun on that 250L. I had a ton of fun on my DT 250, and I've had the privilege of being in a professional environment where I could ride a crap ton of small bikes, and they're extremely fun. Highly recommend it. This video is not to say you should or shouldn't have a small bike. This video is something that legitimately nobody talks about in reference to the small bikes and something that kills them. This is a blown up bike. This Ninja 300, this motor is locked. I can turn the key on, wait for the fuel pump to prime for 15 seconds. Doesn't even turn a bit. And you may be surprised to know, or not surprised if you know me, that this is the second blown up 2013 Ninja 300 I've had. In fact, actually the other one was a 2014. But I've had a total of 3 of these machines, the Ninja 300s. I've had one 2017 and one 2013, and this one being 2013, and then I had another 2014. This is the second one that I've bought blown up, and they both got blown up for the exact same reason, or more or less the exact same reason, so I want to go over that. And by the way, I am going to use the Ninja 300 as an example. These are not unreliable bikes. These are very, very, very reliable bikes, unless you do this one thing. So before we get too deep into this, there's something really important that you should know, and it involves all motorcycle engines. Every single motor, and this is boats, helicopters, motorcycles, anything with an internal combustion engine, and some things without one, everything burns oil. There is not a single engine out there that is a normal internal combustion engine. There is not a single ICE out there that does not burn oil. I don't care if it's so slow that you don't notice it between oil changes, which really you shouldn't. The industry standard that is widely adopted by, yes, the big 4, Harley-Davidson, pretty much any major player in the game, is 1 quart of oil every 1,000 miles of hard riding. Understand that most people will never get that sort of loss. If you ride a small bike and you ride that small bike on the interstate a lot, you probably will. Now, why do I say that? Because these bikes only hold a quart of oil. I said that I had another Ninja 300 that I bought blown up, and that is 100% true. In fact, that bike that I bought that was blown up had 4,000 original miles on it. So yes, it is entirely possible to blow one of these up, and it is entirely possible to blow it up in 4,000 miles. The way that you achieve this is not checking your oil, because believe it or not, you can honestly really abuse these bikes as long as they have oil, and that's with any small bike. It's not just with the Ninja 300s. The Ninja 300 just happens to be a pretty popular small bike choice, and rightfully so. It's an awesome bike. This particular gentleman had bought it used in good condition, and he had rode it all the way from Pennsylvania. I'm going to say Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. And he was going to Georgia, and it blew up on him on the way. And he was just taking interstates the whole way. And while I'm not calling him dumb, I'm not calling him stupid, nothing like that. That is more than 1,000 miles of riding, I think. How long would you have to ride this thing at 12,000 RPMs on the interstate trying to go 70 miles an hour before it has no oil, or at least enough to lock it up? That is the $1 million question, or at least the roughly $4,000 question, because that's probably what a shop would charge you to fix it. I say $4,000, probably more like a $3,000 question. Now, someone like me that is going to do it themselves, most of that cost is in labor. And I am the labor, and I consider myself free. So you were talking parts, and I don't know what parts this needs yet, so I'm not going to open my big fat mouth on it, because I know if I say, oh, it just needs this, I'll need a whole new motor. What can you do as an owner of a small bike? Well, if you like wheelies and high RPM riding, you're the main concern, you're the main person this video is directed at. If you ride very aggressively, which I don't fault you for, they can absolutely take it. All you have to do to really prevent this is just keep on top of your oil. Just track how much you're using, because again, every single engine, regardless of displacement, regardless of manufacturer, will use a little bit of oil. Some more than others, of course. And especially as they start to show their age and you get some wearing in of the cylinder, it will burn even more oil. You get some blow by, and especially on cold starts. But just understand that that is mostly a usage thing. If you are just putting around, let's say 50 miles an hour max on one of these little 300s, and you're not wringing it out everywhere you go, then you probably won't ever have an issue with it. By the time you change the oil, that will obviously correct the level, assuming you do it properly. And again, it probably won't realistically burn that 1 quart of oil every 1,000 miles. You're probably on most machines looking at a fair bit greater than that. That is just the standard as far as bare minimum. It's heavily bike dependent, and I don't want to make a huge blanket statement on every machine to ever exist, because some are far better than others and some are far worse than others. Just understand that checking your oil level is important, and not just because you may have sprung an oil leak and not known it. Internal combustion engines burn oil. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm sorry. Your bike burns oil. Harley Davidson definitely burns oil. Your Triumph burns oil. Your Honda burns oil. Your Cowie burns oil. Everything. So if you own a smaller bike, please just keep this in mind. This is just friendly advice. Again, I'm not bike shaming anyone, but oil is the lifeblood of your machine, so keep on top of it. Again, this does technically apply to bigger bikes too, but to a far lesser extent, because you are far, far, far more likely to run into that sort of issue on this bike. This is not to say anything about oil delivery for wheelies or stoppies or anything like that. This is solely just riding aggressively. If you get on it in traffic once every little while, you're probably not going to notice any difference. But anyway, I hope it helped somebody. If you're curious, yes, I am planning to rebuild this motor and or swap it. We'll see how that goes. We'll just kind of take a look when we get in there, assess how difficult it's going to be to repair, and just go based on that. So thank you very much. You have a great day, and rubber side down as always.